Farmer Bob here, April 25th, and this is the earliest we've ever planted popcorn. It's just amazing that we're able to get it into the ground. Field conditions are prime. They're just perfect. The weather's beautiful, bright and sunny day today. We had a little bit of moisture in the last week, but the field conditions are good. So there's moisture in the ground, but it's not too wet to plant. And actually the corn is planting just beautifully. Okay, and just like that, we're planting popcorn for the 2022 crop season, and the perfect ideal conditions here in this field. We're planting two different fields. This one happens to be by the airport. It's 83 acres, and we've got the experimental variety in the right tank, the traditional on the left. We'll go back and mark those rows. You can see on the plant monitor here that we're targeting about 30,000 plants, but we're going to end up with about 29. Since we're close to the airport, we often see the Kansas National Guard coming in for some touch and goes. We plant on 30-inch rows, and the seed spacing is about 6 inches within the row. But depth is super important, and we target about 2 inches. So before we get too far, we need to get out and measure them. So you just go out and dig up a seed. Do this a couple of different times and take a measurement. As you can see, we're right at 2 inches, so perfect. So I'm going to get some flags. These 16 rows here were planted with a test variety, but everything else so far is just being planted with our traditional variety. So you can see the rows we've planted back there. We've got some test rows that we're doing as well, experimenting with some varieties. So we put in 16 rows of a particular variety that is our test. We really need to see it grow before we ever switch to it. It's supposedly a better or improved hybrid than what we're growing now. And every single popcorn I've grown has been the same variety to this point. So very consistent quality and high quality as well. But even though we have a good product, maybe we could make it better, and that's why we experiment. So we need to test with this. We'll see how it goes, and we'll watch how it grows throughout the season. And then when we harvest, we'll look at yield, okay? Because yield does matter, but really quality and poppability is what really matters to us. So we got those 83 acres planted perfectly, and then we had to move on to the 46 acres at Finney. It took a few days for it to dry out, but we're ready to plant now, so we're loading up seed. Every field's a little different. You can see the residue left on this field. Last year we had wheat here. It's just a cash crop. We don't do anything with it. But that residue is beneficial. It will help us to retain moisture this year. So now that we've got our seed spacing and depth set, we go around the edges of the field, setting the end rows, and then we come back at a right angle and start doing the AB line, which is row after row, just right next. So we're heading south here, and we've come to the end. So what we're going to do is raise up the planter, back it up a little bit, and then align our tractor to the east and start a new outer boundary line. And then later we'll come back and just do north-south, the AB line. So a whole bunch of different rows next to each other, and that's the most efficient. But you do have to do these outer rows, the edge rows, and that way it gives you space to turn your tractor around. But this planter in particular has what they call section control. So as you have these outer rings of rows that you've planted, and then you start your AB line, as they intersect at different angles, it stops planting per row so that you don't double anything. And it's super efficient for seed, but quite frankly, I just think it's cool from a nerdy standpoint. I think I'll end this video here, but I will release more videos on the actual planting process because I think it's interesting. At least it is to me. I'm a first-generation farmer, so all of this is new, and hopefully me sharing it with you gives you an insight on how food is produced. But thanks a lot for your business. If you haven't tried my popcorn yet, I do suggest that you order some either from our website or on Amazon. It's available, and I'd love it if you'd try it. And remember, Princeton Popcorn is run by a first-generation farmer. We're seed to store, one farmer, one field. So everybody loves popcorn, and I'm proud to be your popcorn farmer.